Hey, what's up? Steve Brownlee here. Today we're going to demo a set of EM12 Eminence speakers against the speakers that were kind of voiced after, which is the EVM12L Classic speaker by Electro-Voice. Just get straight to it. Basically what's going to happen is I'm going to take a mahogany set neck Dean V guitar with a set of Seymour Duncan Blackouts in it. Great playing guitar, great sounding guitar. EVH5153 3-channel head, 100 watt, Marshall 1960A. We're going to have a pair of EM12L speakers, 8 ohm, and a pair of EVM12L speakers, 8 ohm as well. It uses Zoom Q3 stereo condenser to capture the room image, a Telefunken M80 on the cab directly into Presonus FirePod and Reaper. I suggest listening to this A-B comparison and a good set of headphones or a good set of monitors or just a really good set of speakers, period, so that you can actually hear, the differences, the innate differences between these two speakers, because there are differences. They're not, the EM12 is not a clone of the EV, although it is voiced similarly. So keep that in mind. Not going to play any leads or anything like that. Nothing over the top, nothing fancy. Just something that you can hear in clean crunch and super high gain kind of sounds. You can hear the differences between these speakers. All the amp channel settings are the same for all three channels. When I go to one speaker to the other, I measured the distances from the microphone to the cone edge at an angle. Everything that you hear is exactly the same for the EM12 as it is for the EVM12. So basically the way the cab is wired for this demo is the EM12s are ran in series to 16 ohms, or sorry, to 16 ohms for one output of the cab, and then you have the EVM12s are wired in another directional pattern to the other output jack of the Marshall cab. So you will never hear both the EM12 and the EVs playing at the same time. So that was in order to isolate in the cabinet and make sure that during recording there was no bleed over from one speaker or the other. So alright, well that's pretty much it, and here it goes. So, after hearing both speakers in an isolated environment in a mix, or sorry, in an isolated environment, then hearing it in a mix, the takeaways I have are obviously just like any set of speakers, you know, there's going to be differences between two different speakers, regardless of how much of a clone they may be or not be, or similarly voiced. There will be differences. It's inherently, you know, obvious, and you know, if you get a set of brand new speakers, all four brand new in a box, that were manufactured at the same plant, even though they're identical speaker models, you know, sometimes they even have small tonal differences in them. With that being said, the tonal differences between the EM12L and the EV are pretty obvious. To my ears, anyways, the EM12 doesn't have a pronounced mid-range, that mid-range spike like the EVM12Ls do, and I've also been able to tell that the EM12s don't have as much low end as the EVM12s do either. However, the EM12s will give you a more have more extended presence range, whereas the EV will roll off real sharp at about 5,000, but about 5K, whereas the it's not rolled off as steeply in the EM12, which gives you a little bit more of a high-end presence. Both great speakers. I've been playing them in my guitar cabinet in an X pattern in a band setting for probably about a month now, and I definitely it's definitely different than running just the full quad of EVM12Ls in there, but it's, you know, I like the sound of both the speakers blended. As far as a cabinet loaded with all four of the EM12s, I'm gonna take the Eminence, just because I can tell from playing both these speakers in the room and recording them and extensively testing them that the EVs have they have a more of a presence in general, you know, tighter low end, a more pronounced low end. It has that mid-range spike at about 2K to about 4.5K. You know, it's a very prominent spike, and it's not like a vintage 30 spike. It's a mid spike. It's not a high mid spike. It's just a mid-range spike, and that really helps the speaker. It really helps the speaker cut through really well and they don't wash out. Neither does the EM12 either, though. I mean, like I said, I've played both these speakers very much in the last month that I've owned both of them, and they both sound great. But if it was going for a straight quad, or, you know, something like that, I would probably, if price were no option, of course. You know, the Eminence are made in USA, and they are very reasonably priced speakers, considering how they're voiced. And if coming down to price to performance ratio, I would not hesitate to purchase a quad of EM12L speakers, or a pair, or however many, whatever your application would be. For me at the time, the EVs were the only thing that I had that there was an option for me to purchase at the time. I don't know, maybe one day WGS will send me their EVM12L clone to demo as well, but that'll be another time, another place. And, yeah, so overall opinion, great sounding speaker. Still actually, I think the EM12 is a more neutral speaker than the EVM12 is. So if you're looking for a really neutral speaker, the EM12 definitely nails that neutral flat response, more so than I believe that the EVM12 does. So yeah, anyways, that's all I got. Until next time.